Hello, welcome to tonight's edition of Crushed Custard. Now tonight we're going to be doing another album review, and we're going to be doing a short review of the debut solo album from somebody that I mentioned in one of my intros last week, one of the people that I think should be more widely known and needs to be heard by a wider audience. The album we're going to be looking at tonight is the debut album from one Mr. Jess Roden. Kidderminster-born Jess Roden began his recording career with the Allen Band Set and sang on their single Emergency 999, a track which made them stars on the northern soul scene for a short while. When Roden left after recording the album The Allen Band to form his own band Bronco, he was replaced by Robert Palmer. However, Roden's original vocals were left on the US release of the album, and Palmer only appeared on the UK issue. After recording 2 albums with Bronco, a band which also included future Robert Plant guitarist Robbie Blunt, in the early 70s, he began to formulate ideas for a solo album whilst working as a session singer and a musician. During this time he appeared on many albums, including Keith Hartley's Lancashire Hustler, Wildlife by Mott the Hoople, and Paul Kossoff's Backstreet Crawler. However, solo album plans were put on hold when he was approached by former Doorsmen John Densmore and Robbie Krieger and invited to join their new project, the Butts Band, in America. Roden recorded just 1 album with the Butts Band, the self-titled debut in 1973, before returning to England and finally getting his solo plans off the ground. Jess Roden, the album was recorded partly in London at Island's Basing Street Studios and Olympia Studios, and partly in New Orleans, where the talents of the New Orleans Horns, Alan Toussaint and Art Neville were used to give the album that trademark New Orleans jazz and blues feel. The album kicks off with Reason to Change, a strutting soul and jazz track which features plenty of tempo changes and immediately displays the benefit of having Toussaint and Neville on board, as they contribute some great organ and piano work. The use of the horns is also paramount to the success of the song, and Roden delivers a trademark passion-filled vocal. I'm On Your Side starts off like something from a musical or love story movie, with a Roden arranged string section before he comes in and delivers a vocal which is a mixture of dreamy laid-back jazz crooner and anguished bluesman. A nice saxophone solo midway from George Lee breaks the song up nicely. Feeling Easy is probably my favourite track on the album, a slow, almost acoustic song. It features great performances again from Toussaint and Neville, the opening having Roden singing over a lone Toussaint piano before the rest of the band come in gradual classic jazz style. By the time the horns come in, Roden's pleading, passionate vocal have wrenched your heartstrings down to your knees and back again. A beautiful song and the perfect vehicle for Roden's voice. It is surely one of the most criminally neglected songs in the history of music. Sad Story is a faster track with another jazzy but this time more funky beat. It features a good jazz guitar solo from Steve Webb, and once again Toussaint Neville and the New Orleans Horns are on top of their game. On Broadway, which is the only non-Roden composed track on the album, boasts a lavish string section arrangement introduction and starts the second half of the album off in sweeping, swirling fashion for a full 1 minute and 3/4 before Roden finally gets to sing. Not many singers would start a track on one of their solos with such a long intro, but Roden has the mind of a composer as much as that of a singer, and the decision is justified in the way that it allows the song to build into something quite powerful. Mickey Feet on the bass and Alan Sharp on the congas give it a nice beat throughout, but it is the flute from Steve Gregory that challenges the intro and Roden's vocal for the honour of being the song's highlight. A perfectly structured track, it has claims to be the best version of this track ever recorded. Ferry Cross is a funky and folky acoustic guitar-driven song on which Roden plays drums, guitars and bass, as well as providing the vocals, including some good falsetto. The only other musician to appear on the track is Richard Smith, who plays the piano and organ, and if there can be such a thing as funk folk, then this is surely it. Trouble in Mind is a mid-tempo jazz soul track. Once again, the New Orleans horns, Toussaint and Neville are the perfect foil for Roden's typically soulful vocal. There's also a nice wah-wah guitar solo, and rebop Kwaku Bar beats out a good rhythm on the congas. What the Hell features yet another passion-filled vocal from Roden and is a nice bluesy laid-back end to the album. The drumming of Simon Kirk and the organ and piano of John Rabbit Bundrick give it a very free-like feel, and it's not difficult to see why Roden had been linked to the vacant microphone position in Deep Purple a year earlier, given Ritchie Blackmore's desire to go for a more bluesy sound. Jess Roden has claims to be one of the finest debut solo albums ever recorded, and it remains a mystery to me and a lot of my musician and music listening friends as to why it isn't more widely known, and why, when world-class vocalists are mentioned, Roden's name doesn't come up more often. Maybe it's the mixture in styles and the fact that this world needs to pigeonhole people. The crossing of the boundaries between soul, jazz, rock, blues and funk may well have been what prevented him from achieving the worldwide success that he should have had. It certainly wasn't down to any lack of talent. Sadly, if you mention the name Jess Roden to most of the general public, you will get a blank stare in return. If you mention his name to a musician of his time or one of us that have been enjoying his music for years, you will get a smile and be told with no lack of passion that he is one of the greatest and most neglected singers ever to come out of Britain. And for Jess Roden, a quiet and shy man, that may well be fame enough. So, there you have it then. I hope you enjoyed that little brief introduction to Jess Roden. I hope that will encourage you to all get out onto YouTube and track down some tracks and maybe try and pick up a copy of the album, just to keep things in sync with previous days' recordings. You can see, still got the album cover in my hand here, and there you go, it's the famous Record and Tape Exchange 50p job again. So it shows you how important that particular place was to me, and I will catch you again tomorrow with another exciting episode of Custard. Until then, I'll see you next time.